Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you're joining us from. Thank you for joining us virtually today. My name is Ben Brady and I'm with CipherTek Systems based out of Livingston and Cookeville, Tennessee. And today we're going to talk a little bit about all these smart devices that we have in our pockets, on our wrists, around our heads, in our cars, and especially at our homes and our offices. So today we're going to talk a little bit about being outsmarted by your smart devices, and some tips on how to secure your home network and protect maybe your office and your home, as we're seeing a lot of this bleed. And especially over the last year, now that we're into March, the world has changed quite a bit for us. So we're going to take a look at how some of those things have changed. Honestly, it really hadn't changed that much, because I like to reflect back to 1969 and a show called The Brady Bunch. So 51 years ago, the Brady Bunch was already using Zoom. So I feel really bad whenever I start having Zoom issues, because Peter, Marcia, all of those guys were using Zoom back in 1969. But seriously, what we're going to talk about today is we are truly in a connected world. We have devices connected to the internet. I mentioned earlier, in our pockets, around our necks, on our heads, in our cars, in the garage, and at the house, and especially at the office now. We truly are connected, and we have smart devices everywhere. And unfortunately, some of these smart devices are beginning to outsmart us. So we're going to take a look here right quick. I was leaving home one morning, and I walked through the kitchen, and I noticed that the crock pot, it had been filled up. My wife had done that before she had left for work. But I noticed that it wasn't running. So I gave her a call and I said, "Honey, do I need to turn on the crock pot before I leave the house?" And she said, "Oh no, that's one of those new smart crock pots. It's actually connected to the internet. So I'm going to turn it on about 1 o'clock today, and we should have some pot roast by the time we all get home." Sometimes that's 7:15, like that in the evening. So the pot roast would have had plenty of time. But on the way to the office that morning, I was thinking to myself, I've got some computers downstairs. I've got a laptop that I use at the house. And now I've got a crock pot that's on the same network. Do I really, really want that crock pot and my laptop on the same network? So this created a term at the office that we started using called securiosity. We talk about security and we talk about curiosity, about all the things that we're connecting. And when our guys go out and hook things up, just about everything that we hook up for anybody anymore is connected to the internet. It's a smart device. They always ask us, is this secure? And the answer they don't want to hear, no, it's not. So they always ask, well, is all this stuff safe? And what I'm going to do is run through a few things here, and I would like for you to look and say, yeah, I've got that device at home. Is it secure? I want you to be curiosity about it. I don't want you to be paranoid, because I love all this stuff. I've got to admit, I absolutely love it. The old Staples thing, you hit it, that was easy. I love for Siri to remind me that I had to come do this webinar. I love all of this stuff. I love being able to start my car remotely. I like to be able to see where my kids are at on my Apple phone. I like to be able to talk to Siri and Alexa. All this stuff is just so convenient, but it's very insecure. So we're going to look at a couple of things. You see the little Amazon dot there. The Ring doorbell, I can't tell you how many of those we've put in. People ask. I know you're shocked now. You're thinking, is that a smart toilet? Yes, it is. There are smart toilets out there that will monitor everything from the water flow being used, the weight of the individual using the toilet, the capacity, the volume, and everything that you never really wanted to know about your toilet. Water heater, we've got a smart water heater at home. Ceiling fans, I can literally log in and turn my ceiling fans at the house on and off from this laptop sitting here in front of me. Not sure that's a good idea. In the late 90s, early 2000s, when the internet was in its infancy, we used to make a lot of jokes about your internet toaster. Well, guess what we actually have now? You can set your toaster up on the internet and control that thing from the bedroom, from your smartphone. You can control it from the office. You could even control it from the beach with your smartphone if it's back at the house. You could log in and see if that thing was logged in. Very recently, less than a week ago, the headlines came out about all the security camera systems across the world that had been hacked. Everywhere you go now, you're going to see these camera systems. We put them in for a lot of businesses. A lot of other companies put these in, and they're great to have. It's great to be able to log in and look at the house, see who opened the garage, see who's standing in the living room. But do I really want the rest of the world to be able to do that same thing? This is the big green egg that you see here. You can control your green egg. You can smoke those ribs from the comfort of your office with it sitting on your back porch. All of this is controlled from an app on the smartphone. Your car, if your car is newer than say 2005, 2006, you would be amazed at how many of the control functions on that car, the brakes. One of my wife's cars, you can log in and see where it's at right now. You can unlock the doors, you can pop the trunk, you can change the heater. And all of this is really convenient. And like I said, guys, I love this. The convenience that technology is bringing to our lives is awesome. Absolutely love it. But is it secure? Can the guy sitting in his basement in the Philippines, for example, not to pick on the Philippines, or in Russia, or in Iran, or the guy sitting in Washington, D.C., can he also log into my car and turn my brakes off, for example? Kind of makes you go, A couple of computers there. We're all used to the computers being on the network and connected to the network. And 15 years ago, that's really all we had to worry about. The internet had come about. People in business were using the internet for various things. We had computers and laptops at the office that were connected to the internet 100% of the time. You dropped in a firewall, you were good to go for the most part. As things have changed over the years, though, I now carry in my pocket an iPhone that's more powerful than the computer I was using at my desk in 2005. It's always connected, unless there are certain parts of the upper kernel and I can go where it's not connected, but those are getting to be very rare. So a lot of things have changed since the days of just having the computer. The iPhone I mentioned, a lot of you guys, and you can tell by looking at me, I don't wear a Fitbit. I used to actually have one and it kept telling me that I wasn't exercising enough, so I got rid of it. I do have an Apple Watch. Same thing, it kept telling me to stand up, you need to walk, you've been sitting too long, so I had to get rid of that too. But these are devices that are connected constantly. And the new iterations of the Apple Watch, the Fitbit, the Android watches, things like that, not only are they providing metrics back to the mothership of where you are, who you're close to, contact tracing, now they're giving your oxygen levels, your heart rate, and various other things that you may not mind if everybody sees that, but you might want to think about it. The Nest thermostat, one of the greatest things since sliced bread. I can log in and turn the heat down at the house just a little bit from the comfort of my phone while I'm at the beach. This is one that you may not have seen recently, but toothbrushes are now smart devices. Your toothbrush can monitor you. It can send you a daily report. And we actually used this for a while with one of our kids. We'd get a daily report on how long she activated the toothbrush, get a schedule, any days that she missed brushing her teeth. And this device was connected to the same internet for a while that my laptop was connected to. And while we don't do that anymore, it just makes you wonder about it. The refrigerator we got last year is connected to the internet. I can log in right now and see if we need milk. I can also have the refrigerator send me an email when it's time to change the filters, the water filter, the air filter. And although I don't have it because my wife would kill me, I have a banker friend who lives down around Chattanooga who bought a new washer and dryer. They're on the internet, and he gets notifications whenever the load is finished and when the next load starts. And if the washer or the dryer are overloaded, or if it's close to overheating, or if the vent needs to be cleaned on the dryer, the lint screen. That's all great, but what he uses it for occasionally, and I know somebody out there is going to get mad, but he'll call his wife and say, hey, the clothes, they're finished. You need to go take those out. I cannot imagine calling my wife and saying, hey, honey, I'm at the office, but you really need to go take the clothes out of the dryer. That's not somewhere I want to go. The Apple TV, Also connected to the internet. A lot of folks use the Apple TV devices, Chromebook, the Google Sticks, all of that stuff for watching TV now. We have 4 of these in our house, and you'd be amazed at the bandwidth those things pull down. The aforementioned crockpot's connected, and I'm not sure what that last item that came up there is. Oh yeah, it's a treadmill, they're telling me in my ear here. I thought it was a clothes hanger, but it's actually a treadmill. So with the Pelotons, things like that, you have all this interconnectivity. So somebody out there knows how much you're exercising. And I've always been worried about my good friend over at the insurance company here in Cookeville knowing exactly how much I'm exercising, because I expect my rates would go up at that point. Also, the garage door opener connected to the internet. So as you can see, everything literally is connected to the internet now. Now, what are the downsides of this? One of these quotes here is from NBC News, and it asks if your devices are spying on you. Well, spying is a pretty rough word, but I can tell you without any question of any doubt, all of these devices are collecting data on you and your family. NBC News and the Center for Democracy and Technology, we have some quotes here, but more importantly, let's see what the FBI has to say about this. According to the FBI website, the FBI recommends that you keep your IoT devices or your Internet of Things, all of these smart devices, on a separate network. One of the direct quotes that I have pulled from the FBI website here says, "Your fridge and your laptop should not be on the same network. Keep your most private, sensitive data on a separate system from all of your other IoT devices." So we're going to talk about that in just a second, but I've got one slide on here, Death by PowerPoint, that I'm going to show you right now. And I actually show you this information twice because I really want you to see it now and again later. Updates and patches. If you don't take anything else from this webinar, update your stuff. Historically, we've always thought, well, Patch Tuesday comes once a month on Tuesday. Microsoft updates all their stuff. Well, over 90% of all successful cyber attacks could have been mitigated or prevented with patches and updates. This includes your computer, this includes your laptop, this includes your iPhone, your Android phone, your Apple Watch, your camera system, your crockpot, your green egg, and the list goes on and on and on. Run those updates, run those patches. If you're not quite sure how to do that, get with your IT guy at church, call an IT company, say, hey, we need to make sure these things are patched and updated. And once again, I want to reiterate, 90%, over 90% of all successful cyber attacks today could have been prevented or mitigated simply by running updates. So what can we do? Any of these devices that you bring into your home or your business and you put them on your network, change the default factory settings. We'll look at these very briefly individually here in just a minute, but change those factory default settings. There are websites out there where you can go search Google for default Linksys router. Passwords, usernames are out there. That means people can log into your network. All your passwords should be complex and unique for IoT devices or Internet of Things devices. And we've changed the way we look at passwords in the last couple of years. We'll discuss that briefly in a minute. Know what type of data your phone or these other smart devices are gathering from you. And if you have a lot of devices, look into securing your IoT network by separating it from your other network. So for example, when I get home tonight, my laptop will go onto a network at the house that is completely removed from my refrigerator, the toothbrush, the crock pot, the big green egg, the Ring doorbell system, the Nest thermostat system. It will be completely separated. So let's look at these right quick individually. Change the defaults. If you see in the graphic here, when you bring home that new Linksys router or Netgear router or whatever, chances are the username and password are admin. Change those defaults. There are some laws out there now that are having these companies step up and they're supplying a more secure device. However, some of the old devices, and there's too many people within a mile of where I'm sitting right now that I could log into their devices with admin or admin password or password 123. Change those passwords. Also, I wanted to show some examples here. Be sure you use good passwords. I used to work for a company that had about 25,000 users that we actually, back in the day, stored their passwords, which is a terrible idea. But occasionally we would run a query to see what the most popular passwords were. And this was actually in the Upper Cumberland. I'm not sure what type of comment this makes on our society, but we always found that in the Upper Cumberland of Middle Tennessee, the #1 password was Go Vols, or some iteration of that password. The #2 password, here's the comment on society, was Jesus. So Go Vols actually outranked Jesus for favorite password. So what I'm showing you here on the one side, password 123, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, Go Vols, Jesus, great things, not great passwords. If you look at the other password list, you're throwing in some special characters, you're doing some things that makes those passwords hard to hack, but it's still easy for you to remember. Password, I can put in some special characters. I still know that that's password. I put in a birth date there. That would be May 29th, 1985. Instead of Go Vols, I did an iteration of Reggie White from 1982. I was a big fan. Down at the bottom, instead of using Jesus, I've got an iteration of special characters there of John 3:16. Very easy for you to remember, but very complex. And also, each of these passwords should be unique. You shouldn't have the same password on your Ring doorbell that you have on your garage door, that you have on your video cameras, that you have on your Amazon account, that you have on your Chase Business credit card account. So you want to make sure these things are unique. You also want to know what the data is truly recording on you. I see these things all the time. There was a big hoodoo about a year ago about all these apps you could put on your cell phone. Do you want to see what you're going to look like when you're 50? Well, give me all of your facial recognition data and I'll show you a picture of what you might look like when you're 50. Problem was, this was a Russian company. I suspect anybody under 45, the Russians have them in their facial recognition database right now. Also, you see all these questions on Facebook, on Instagram, where you see that girl that you went to high school with, she filled out that she's never been to Texas, she loves steak better than she loves pizza, and she's asked you to do the same thing. People are fishing for information about you. Please don't fill those out. Finally, the thing that you really want to consider if you have a lot of IoT devices or smart devices, and to give you guys an example, my wife and I live at home. We still have 2 children that are under legal age, so they still live at home. The other night, I logged into our IoT network, 29 devices we had connected to our network. And this is just an example of our network at home. This is not the perfect example, so you can pull this off the web or whatnot, and you're still not going to be able to break into my network. But we have the internet that leads to a device from your ISP. We have some really great ISPs around here. The phone companies, the cable companies and whatnot, they give you enough bandwidth to stream your TV, surf on your iPad, and work from home, which we've all been doing lately. I physically have my network separated into 2 networks. One is for my smart devices, one is for the laptop and the work. Those 2 never talk to each other. So once again, back to that same slide, update all your stuff, not just your laptop, your MacBook, your iPhone, but update the firmware on your grill, on your Ring, on your Nest, on your washer and dryer. And if anybody out there has got one of those smart toilets, first of all, I'd like to see it. But second, make sure you're updating and patching that toilet. Thanks for joining us today. Once again, my name is Ben Brady with CipherTek Systems. There's my phone number if you have any questions. And I think my email address is actually on there too, so you can shoot us an email if you have any questions about that. And I think we're going to be taking some questions here in just a little bit. So once again, thank you for joining us virtually, and everybody stay safe.